You're having all kinds of trouble today.
I know. It's a day. It's been a week. Anyway.
It's been not even your year.
It's not even my... Solid reference. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Book Retorts. I'm your host, Danielle.
I'm Sam.
And this is the podcast where one of us finds a strange piece of media and shares it, explains it to the other person who has no history with it whatsoever. And this is our second and final part of the Korean drama Love Cells.
Ooh, I'm excited for the conclusion.
You should be. It's amazing. Before we begin, though, I do have two clarifications to make that I discovered over the last week.
Oh, man. This will explain everything.
Yeah, no, it really won't.
Oh.
They're unrelated to the plot. The first is that I said this was a 2-episode show, but it's actually 15 very small episodes, little 6 to 10 minute ones, I think.
Oh.
Yes, and it was just the medium where I was watching it combined all of those little episodes together to create 2 long-form episodes. So just for clarification purposes, if anybody's looking for it online, that is actually 15 small episodes. And then the second thing is just a pronunciation thing. There are two, the Love Cell cat character.
Okay.
Yeah. We referred to her last time as Navi, which it is written as on a lot of English media online.
Oh, I forgot her name. Thank you for reminding me.
You're welcome. Navi. And in most of the English, like summaries and everything, that's how it's spelled.
Okay.
But in the actual translation during the drama, it's spelled Nebi, and it's pronounced closer to Nebia as opposed to Navi.
Nebia.
Yeah. And so I'm going to continue saying Navi because that's what we did in the first episode, and is also, again, I think it's partly because how Korean is translated over. A lot of the sounds and letters in Korean don't have exact English equivalents. That's my best guess as to why there's a difference between the two. Moving on to the next part, which I'm super excited about.
Oh, no.
Because as we discovered in previous episodes, I am terrible at summarizing what happened previously in stories.
Terrible, Danielle. I think it's magnificent.
And this is Sam's chance to show us how amazing he probably is at this.
Oh, I don't know if I'm amazing, Danielle, but I feel like your retelling really seared this into my brain because it's just so weird. I don't think I could forget this if I tried. Like, I think I'll need therapy to get this out of my head.
Yes.
So
without further ado, please tell us what happened in the last episode of Love Cells.
Okay, so there was this guy named something
Dae-chung.
Thank you.
Dae-chung.
Okay, well, again, what do we just say about pronouncing things, Danielle?
Close enough.
I'm so bad. Dae-chung, and he is a average late 20s, early 30s guy, I guess, who has not dated for 9 years. And this is apparently a giant crisis for him because his love cells are dying.
That's not the only thing, though. It's not just that he hasn't dated in 9 years. He also is, like, unemployed, can't pay his rent, is a total slob.
Okay, so he's generally a big loser. Got it. He's a slob, he's unemployed, he can't pay his rent, he has no friends. Big loser. Right. Thank you. Does any of the other stuff have to do anything with his love cells or just the dating part?
No, but it's to establish that he has to, like, a character arc. He has some place he needs to go other than just falling in love with somebody. All
right. Okay. So he's a big old loser living on a roof, and his love cells are dying, and somehow, inexplicably, a bubble appears and is eaten by a cat, which turns into a girl named Nabia, or as we'll continue to pronounce it, Navi, who is one of his love cells come to human form, like a fairy godmother, to grant his wishes and straighten his life out. I am baffled still, but we shall press on, because that's really just background. It's frosting. None of that matters, because the cake of this is the relationship he is trying to form with some celebrity. So Sorin is a celebrity, but she's kind of like a down-to-earth celebrity because she likes chicken feet. And
why is he trying to form this relationship with her? You skipped that whole part, Sam.
Oh, because who cares? It doesn't matter.
It's a vitally important part to the story.
Just like you think the love cells, what they are, would be more important. But okay. They take her to the love cell, takes him to a cafe, and he tries to say, "Hey, what's your type of girl? Let's pick out a girl here you can fall in love with." And he's like, "None of these girls can hold a candle to Sorin because she's perfect, and everything about her is perfect, and I will never be satisfied with anything less than her."
Yes, but why is she doing that? She's doing that because if he doesn't fall in love with somebody the next month, she dies,
right.
Sam. She dies.
Right, the cells
Navi
die,
dies.
yeah. I still don't know why we care if Navi or the love cells die. Like, will he die? No.
But
I'm assuming
he's alone, and he'll be alone and sad and never be able to fall in love. And also, it kind of dives into that in the second episode about like how crazy people who don't have love cells turn into.
Well, I don't know the second episode, Danielle, so you can't expect me to have that kind of connection yet, all right? So for as far as I'm concerned, the love cells dying is not a crisis. So the love cells are going to die. He needs to find Sorin. Sorin's the only girl that apparently will do for this guy because he's super picky despite being a total loser, which, not a great idea. And, how did I forget this? Not Sorin. The love cell, Navi, gives him a video game inventory of random materials that he is going to have one-time uses for, like an old point-and-click puzzle game. And they're insane. And they're always introduced with this infomercial by a dude in a tank top that says God all over it, doing his sort of chill, yo, this is the magic spray that makes you smell real attractive thing. Or the glasses that, I don't remember the glasses too, but there were glasses somewhere, sunglasses in there.
He's MC God Iceman. Iceman's his name.
MC God Iceman? How did I forget his name? That's so good. MC God Iceman. Oh no, I'm so sad. That's amazing. Thank you for reminding me of MC God Iceman.
By far the best part of the whole show.
Oh man, it's my favorite part. Oh, I remember all the other stuff, but not the good stuff. All right. So MC God Iceman is by far the best part of the show, I'm guessing. Anyway, he eventually bumps into Sorin because contrivances, and she passes out from fried squid, ends up in the hospital.
It's dried squid, but I don't know if it really matters.
Dried squid. Okay, my mistake. Sorry. Dried squid. Squid. There was squid involved. And she ends up in the hospital. She has some kind of nebulous relationship with another celebrity whose name I do not remember.
His name is Ji-woon.
Ji-woon, right. Ji-woon, the other celebrity who they kind of have a romantic, not romantic thing. And it's not really clear who is interested in whom and what all that stuff is going on. But anyway, our protagonist, Dao Jung, gets invited to her birthday party, which is emceed by the agent of Ji-woon. The DJ is like Ji-woon's
is
manager.
Like manager, sure.
Yeah, okay.
He's like omnipresent. He's everywhere doing stuff.
Okay, great. So that's good to know. He's like a puck character, I guess.
Yeah, kind of.
Causing mischief. He goes to this party. Ji-woon tries to impress Sorin with a room full of helium balloons that do not float.
I forgot about that, actually.
You forgot about that. You told me about it.
I know, but I hadn't thought about the first episode since we recorded, so.
Okay. Helium balloons that do not float. A cake. Is Dae-chung, right? Dae-chung. Okay, I'm never going to remember this. It is. I don't know. Why do we do this to each other, Danielle? Dae-chung, he pops all the balloons in that room just out of sort of pique.
Yeah, it was to ruin the mood.
Okay.
Dae-chung and Navi pettiness. Go and pop all the balloons together.
Cool. So he then hides under a table when Ji-woon brings in So-ren to show her the big surprise, and Ji-woon is super annoyed that all the balloons are popped, and their voices get really high-pitched because apparently the room is now full of helium that was in the non-floating balloons.
Magic.
And he's sitting at the table. Ji-woon starts looking for him. I don't think he finds him.
He does not.
Okay, and they're at the party. They both get pushed into the pool in what I suppose is supposed to be one of those fun romantic things about we're both in the pool now, having fun.
Yeah, Navi orchestrates it. I don't know if she knows how it's going to end up, but she pushes them both into the pool.
And I don't remember what happens after that.
So Rin rescues him.
Oh, so Rin, because he can't
swim. Yeah, she just stands up and gets him out of the pool, and then you forgot this part. She gives him CPR.
Oh, I did forget the mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. That is the cliche of everything about how mouth-to-mouth is basically kissing, which it is not.
We established last episode, CPR, kissing, very different.
Don't try to kiss someone back to life who needs to breathe because you will end up doing more harm than good.
Except unless you're Snow White, then you're good. You're good.
Even though it's kind of creepy. All right, so CPR happens, something, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. What happens next is Dao Chung, is made to be the new agent, the manager for So-ren, because her other manager she fires.
I think he gets caught up in some kind of weird scandal and fired.
Oh, they go on a date. That's right. They go outside and they're hanging out and they get drunk and there's like karaoke. There's a montage. And then like the tabloids get a hold of it. It's like a big old scandal. They have to explain to whether he's like a good family friend and there's no romantic thing between them.
Yes.
And then he's made her manager. That's all I got, Danielle. That's all I got.
That's the gist of it. That's the basic part. There is a part with a restaurant where they go, where So-rin and Ji-woon go to the restaurant.
How did I forget about the like crazy puppet thing where he's like manipulating the guy in the piano?
They use the copy beans. Copy beans.
Yeah, and she's hiding under the table like rubbing her leg in a creepy way.
That makes that sound, the whole show sound so much stranger than it is.
I don't know about that, Danielle. I think it's underselling it, if anything. And he starts to like play Ji-woon is trying to woo her by playing a song on the piano, and Dao Chung like gives him half a magic coffee bean that like makes him imitate his movement. So he does, some weird dance and stuff to make him look like a fool. And then Ji-woon sort of is embarrassed, and So-ren leaves and happens to bump into Dae-chung, who takes her on a nice, lovely date where they get chicken feet.
Yeah, that gives give or take. That's the precipitating factor for why they go on a date. Yes.
Oh, all right. What? I mean,
good job.
I'll give myself like a B- on that. I didn't get the big stuff.
You did. You got the oversweeping arc of the plot of what there is.
I can't believe I missed the CPR and the weird dance in the restaurant. That's insane.
I'll give it to you. Give partial credit.
Great, I'll take it. I need whatever I can get at this point.
So as you mentioned, where we previously left off, Ji-woon and Dae-chung had met up. Ji-woon had approached him as he got out of a car and was like, "What's your problem? Who are you? What are you doing with So-rin?" And Ji-woon basically accuses Dae-chung of being up to something and demonstrates that he knows some kind of information about him, because I don't know if you remember, but previously he had his manager do some digging on him.
I didn't remember that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so Dae-chung now knows that Ji-woon's looked into him, and he's kind of like, "What, you're like researching me? What the heck?"
Reasonable.
Yeah, and then Ji-woon basically tells him that a pathetic person like him, who has no career, can't pay his rent, etc., shouldn't be with somebody like So-rin.
Harsh.
Yeah, and Dae-chung's response back to that is like, "You don't own her. Like, you're not dating her. Like, what claim do you have over this woman? I can date her if I want to. I can hang out with her if I want to."
I'm liking Dae-chung better.
Yeah, and he says that his feelings are real for her, and so it shouldn't matter what his background is. And then Ji-woon, in a kind of a jerky move we'll get into later, he threatens him, and not even him, he threatens So-rin, saying that he has some information on So-rin from the past, because remember, they were friends forever. They grew up together.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, "I'll release this information if you don't back off," and like get So-rin into a scandal.
Blackmails him?
Basically blackmails, suggests that he's going to blackmail So-rin, which is kind of jerky for somebody who supposedly is in love with this woman.
I think it goes beyond jerky, Danielle. That's
that's being nice.
Criminal.
It's trying to be nice.
To be clear.
Yeah. And so that conversation ends, and it prompts Ji-woon to like go home, so he's back on his rooftop, and he has his laptop out. I guess he gets Wi-Fi out there.
It's wireless, Danielle. You can get it anywhere.
It is. It's right outside of his apartment that we assume exists at this point, since we haven't seen him in it. And he Googles, basically, I'm not sure if they have Google, but he basically Googles So-rin
It's Korea,
elite.
Danielle. They have Google.
They have like other search engines that they use.
That's true. They have other search. You're right.
Regularly. Yeah.
Okay.
So they may also have Google. I don't know, but they often use other search engines.
All right. You would know better than me. I'm sorry.
And so he types in So-rin illegal, as you do.
If that turns up something, you don't need to blackmail her.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking when I was watching. I was like, if that comes up, then everybody already knows about it, right?
Please tell me that worked.
Well, Navi comes up behind him and is like, what's your damage? If there's a problem, let's solve it together. Like, what are you doing? Like, trying to ruin your entire, relationship with this woman. And so he pulls up an article. It's in Korean. There's no translation for it. So I'm assuming it must not be important.
You didn't put it through, like, Google Translate?
No.
Aw.
Yeah, he looks at it briefly, and then the scene switches, actually, to Ji-woon in a bathroom. And he's having basically a flashback to him saying to Dae-chung, if I release that information, what would it do to So-rin? So he's kind of having like a guilt flashback, I think.
Feeling bad about his blackmail. Yeah.
Yeah, he should. Like, terrible person. So he seems kind of upset about the fact that he said this, I'm assuming. And then he tries to, like, hit the mirror, punch his reflection in the mirror. And his manager is standing there blocking the door, and he keeps telling him, don't, every time he goes to punch, which is actually kind of a funny scene. Like, he goes to punch it, and the manager's like, don't. So he stops, and then he gets
Why
mad
is the
at his
manager in the bathroom with him?
That we'll get to that. And so he goes to, like... He's like stops, he doesn't punch it, and then he looks at himself in the mirror, gets angry at himself again, and goes to like hit it, and his manager says, don't.
He's like a dog, you're like, the dog like barking at the other dog in the mirror, like, stop it.
Exactly. So this happens multiple times. It's kind of a comedic scene. It's actually, I thought it was quite funny.
Okay, great.
And then what happens is the manager is like, you shouldn't break a mirror just because of So-rin. Like, this is a ridiculous reaction to this situation.
It's not wrong.
Yeah, it's not. It's kind of a voice of reason moment. And then it flashes to him, the manager. He's like, you're in a bathroom. And it flashes back, and there's this whole line of people outside of the door waiting to get into the bathroom, and the manager's like blocking it, not letting anybody in.
So he's in a public restroom having a mental...
He's actually in a public women's restroom, yes.
He's in a public women's restroom.
Yeah, and the manager's like blocking the door, like, dude, you need to get out of here. Like, stop trying to punch yourself in the mirror.
Is there
get
any
over
reason
it.
he's in a public women's restroom as opposed to literally anywhere else?
No, I have no idea.
Okay, got it.
That was where he ended up. I don't know why he didn't use another restroom. I don't know why he didn't go to another place, his own car. Like, I don't know.
Okay, great.
Because he wanted to look at himself in the mirror. Maybe it was the closest mirror venue.
Yes, there are no other reflective surfaces in Korea except in women's bathrooms.
Exactly. So then it switches back to the rooftop, and... you see throughout the series, which I didn't mention before, I think, throughout the series, you kind of see little flashes across the scene of different love cells dying because they're apparently on a grid pattern.
Oh, you did not mention that. That seems like it's important.
And so over the course of the series, you knew that they were all dying. Like, I did mention
I didn't know they were like dying in real time. Like, Bob just died.
What does it matter, though? Because you already said you don't care whether or not the love cells die.
I didn't know that. Maybe they have like names and personalities.
Well, maybe, but they're all just referenced on a grid pattern. So you see it flash across the scene about like D15 or whatever.
So they're playing Battleship.
Basically. Yes. Battleship of the Love Cell Battleship.
I hit one.
So Navi's basically doing some math about like the death of love cell D15. I don't know if that's her designation as a love cell or if she's just trying to figure out how many love cells he possibly has left, how much time she has.
And the love cells are what allow you to feel love, right?
Yeah, so if he doesn't have love cells, he turns into a miserable, lonely person who will never find love.
Cool.
You have to go with the premise that love is the be-all, end-all.
I'm all in.
Okay.
Nothing more important than love and love cells. Sign me up for Team Love Cell. I'm getting my pennant and a little foam finger in the mail.
Go love cells.
That's
love
right.
cells number 1. Love cells number 1.
No, the love cell D5, Danielle. D5.
D15.
Whatever.
So the phone rings, and it's So-rin, and it's Dae-chung's phone, obviously, because Navi doesn't have a phone. She's a love cell cat. And...
I mean, what if she has like a magic phone, Danielle? She has magic other stuff. She has sunglasses and weird...
That's a fair point. Fair point. She could have a magic cell phone in her gift bag of things.
Yeah, okay. All right. Don't be counting anything out here.
Okay. But Dae-chung ignores his phone. It's his phone ringing. And basically Navi like gets up and tosses his phone at him. Is like, answer the phone. And so he picks it up and he does like the pre-recorded message voice. He's like, the person you've called is not available to take your call right now.
So he's screening.
Basically. But then So-rin shows up behind him, and it's like, oh, you finally picked up on the 44th call. I see how it is.
She called him 44 times?
Yeah.
What's her damage?
And you've got to remember, this is the point. I think I wrote this like 5 times in my note. This is the point where you have to remember that he got picked up as her manager previously.
Uh-huh.
So what has he been doing?
They know each other like 2 days. She made him her manager, and then he ghosts her?
Yeah, we don't know if he ever worked or not. Like, the timeline on this is very screwy. I'll, like, get to it in a little bit, but I'm just like, doesn't he have a job?
Is this like flash forward like 6 months later?
I don't know.
Okay.
And so he just, like, doesn't show up for his work. He's the manager, and she's called him 44 times. What if there was an emergency that he was supposed to be dealing with as her manager?
I'm starting to think that there maybe was a reason he was unemployed and a loser.
Yeah, I don't think
and it wasn't his love cells.
And at one point he mentions it's like his first job where he's made real money and like he's really proud of his first paycheck. And I was like, you're 27 or whatever, and you haven't had like what? You didn't even have a part-time job?
Man, I gotta say, his redemption arc is going to be so steep.
Yeah.
It's going to be like a straight up line.
Yeah, this doesn't go where you think it's going, so fair warning.
All right. Well, now I'm intrigued.
Yeah. So my notes say job, ? Exclamation point with a big asterisk next to it. Like,
was asterisk just like a footnote that says, no job?
Yeah. I was just like, the asterisk was to remind me that, like, what the heck?
Okay. Great.
Yeah. And so he's surprised to see her, which cracks me up. He's like, how did you get here? How do you know about this place? And I'm like, dude, you work for her. Like, she's got to have your address on file.
Yeah, your W-2s or whatever the equivalent is.
And she's all upset with him. She's like, you didn't think I'd worry if you just disappeared? Which is fair. You know, they're supposed... She even asked him in the end of the last episode, like, I just want you to, like, be with me and hang out with me, and I'm so comfortable around you. And, like, that's why he became her manager. And so, like, it's fair. You just
She was hiring a friend, basically.
Basically, like, and so she's upset that he disappeared. And he's like, that's not it. And she's basically like, you promised to be by my side. And he's like, no, well, there was an inevitable reason and I had to leave. But also work. He works for her.
Yeah, no, this is not how jobs work. You're just like, oh, one day I don't feel like working, so bye.
Yeah. And so what happens is he basically is like, she gets like kind of mad at him, like, well, what reason? If you don't talk to me, I don't know. Which she is by far the most like realistic and best character of this entire series in terms.
I kind of like her the most.
Yeah, like, dude, if you don't talk to me about it, I can't resolve this issue with you. Like, you can't just disappear when we're supposed to be friends.
Communication is key to any relationship.
I know. So apparently he doesn't know that, but she does. I really like her.
Yeah, she deserves better than both those clowns.
Yeah. So she's like super fed up with it. She decides that she's going to leave, and he stops her to tell her officially, quote unquote, that he can't see her anymore. Like, that was unclear by him disappearing and not talking to her, answering her 44 calls.
Yeah, okay, great. So you just told me what I already know.
Yeah. So basically, they're arguing this. She's about to leave. He's like, just officially, FYI, I'm not going to be able to see you anymore. And then you suddenly realize, kind of the camera like pans a little bit, that the landlord is standing there watering the plants on the rooftop. Watching
this whole argument with them right 2 feet from her?
Which again begs the question, like, whose space is he living in? Is this just... He has multiple times slept on this rooftop, which seems to be outside his apartment. Does he own the rooftop? Is it part of his apartment? Is it a communal space that he's just sleeping in all the time? Real questions.
It is like... It's like, oh, this rooftop seems like a nice place to sleep, apparently.
It's very weird.
It's very weird.
So the landlord is like, dude, if you have time to date, you have time to make some money.
You had a job. That's what they was just talking about, that he worked for her.
Yeah, but I don't think the landlord knows this because he hasn't got paid yet.
He is the worst.
I don't know. Like I said, timeline's very confusing, but it's totally a fair point, the landlord. Like, if you have time to do other stuff, you have time to make money.
Yeah, no kidding.
And so she introduces herself to So-rin while Dae-chung's like trying to like hustle her out. He's like, get out of here. We're in the middle of a argument.
You couldn't have like seen that she was there earlier?
Yeah, she like doesn't recognize her as an actor. And I think she's also an idol, just for clarification purposes. I think she's also like a singer trying to get into acting, as I think is the premise of this. Is a little confusing.
Back up. You said idol. Is that something I should be familiar with?
So an idol is often usually used with people who are in singing groups or are famous singers, like the famous boy bands like BTS, which is a really big Korean pop band.
Even I've heard of them.
Right. And so an idol is somebody who is famous for that, but a lot of those idols tend to do like triple threat kind of things like we used to have more of. So
Right.
they're dancing, they're
Singer,
singers,
actor, dancer.
Exactly. Yeah. And so an idol often is just like a very famous young adult, usually.
So us.
Yes, totally. Just like us. So I think she is a music idol, and she's kind of trying to break into the whole acting business thing.
And so having a manager would be really helpful right about now.
You would think so. I don't know how she's living. You don't see her working a whole bunch. It seems like her life is pretty free.
How do you book gigs or do... All right.
I don't know.
Maybe neither of them deserve to have any work.
Yeah, we kind of established that we thought Dae-Chung is maybe more like a personal assistant than a like booking gigs manager.
Well, then her booking gig manager is lying down on the job.
Yeah, I don't know what she's supposed to be doing when she's out hanging out with Dae-Chung.
All right. Well, I guess just living fancy free off of the money she apparently has cashed away.
She probably does have some money.
Okay. Thanks, Danielle.
Yeah.
You ruined my joke.
And so the landlord, again, getting back to the point, Dae-Chung's trying to hustle her off the rooftop, and the landlord is talking to So-Rin and is like, just FYI, because I have a daughter and, she's so important to me, I'm going to tell you, woman to woman, some really good advice. If you meet people like Dae-Chung, your life goes downhill. And So-Rin, bless her, love her. She's like, yeah, I've learned that today.
Oh, yeah.
Burn.
Oh, yeah. Suck it, Dae-Chung.
Loved it. And so the landlord's basically like, because this man, I can't afford to feed my daughter studying in France. And she's like, my daughter, she farts whenever she eats bread, but she's really quite pretty.
What?
I don't know. It was the funniest line.
Eating bread, that's going to be a big thing in France. They have lots of bread in France. She's going to be farting all over the place. It
just made me laugh. Like she was trying to like upsell her daughter, but barely.
It's like a neg on her own daughter.
So eventually she gets hustled off the rooftop. Like that's the end of that scene.
Okay.
And Dae-Chung is like, okay, this is who I am. Like, you've seen this. The landlord's like, I can't pay rent. I'm kind of a terrible person. Like, she's telling you not to be with me. That's literally who I am. Now you know. And so Rin's like, so what? Like, I knew that and I don't care.
Wait. So the scene ends and how are they talking?
Oh, it's not really ending. I just meant the scene ends with the landlord.
Oh, okay. So the landlord leaves. They're still on the roof. And somehow So-Rin, who just said, yes, I know meeting people like this guy makes my life go downhill, is still like, I don't care. Let's hang out anyway.
Yes.
What?
Kind of. Basically. Okay. So they're still in the middle of their argument, to be fair. And Dae-Chung's like, what do you mean, so what? It means I can't do anything grand for you. Like, I don't have any money. I'm kind of a waste of space. And he has some self-esteem issues.
You think?
Yeah. So Rin's like, well, did I ask you to do anything big for me? You just said you'd stay by my side. That's literally all I asked of you. And that's all I want from you. It's just to, like, hang out with you, be friends, like, stay by my side. Maybe I'm interested in you. Like, come on. And Dae-Chung's like, but even friends should be suitable for each other. And I'm kind of a loser. And we're not, like, at all on compatible levels. And she argues, like, well, who's suitable for me then? If I'm not allowed to choose you as being suitable for me, then who is? And then she kind of has, like, this moment, a light bulb moment. And she's like, wait, did you meet Ji-woon?
Oh, jeez.
He's like, he said something to you, didn't he? And this is like the fastest secret telling I've ever seen in my whole life. Like, that scene was, 2 seconds ago that he gets into that little argument with Ji-woon, who's like, you're not good enough for her.
2 seconds ago on what timeline?
I don't know, because who knows? There's been 44 calls. Were they all on the same day?
It could have been weeks he talked to Ji-woon, like weeks ago. Who knows?
I don't know. Good point.
No, it isn't.
In any case, it's still a really fast secret because literally they've been together like 10 minutes on this rooftop and he can't keep this secret. And so he's basically like, yeah, he said I wasn't good enough for you and also that he'd release some information about you if we still hung out. So,
oof.
Yeah, then you got to find out that maybe one of the reasons why he's ignoring her is not just because he doesn't feel like he's good enough, which is true, he does not, but also that he's trying to prevent this information from leaking.
So it's like Harry and the Henderson her.
I have never seen Harry and the Hendersons.
Well, then, that's going on the list.
Oh, no.
I'm going to have to do that one for you. Or you should do that one for me, because it's been a long time since I've seen it, and I'd love to hear your take on it.
Okay. Something to look forward to, everybody. Harry and the Hendersons.
Maybe. No promises. But no, he's doing the thing like, get out of here, go. I'm doing this because I love you and I want you to leave.
Yeah, it's a big theme in Korean dramas or Asian dramas of all things, is that, like, I'm doing this for your own good, but I'm not going to tell you about it. And if I do, I'm still going to do it.
That's infuriating. I hate that.
Everybody does hate that, yes.
You can't make the decision for the other.
Classic trope. And so she's like, first off, I don't believe that he said that because he's a good person. But also, more importantly, even if he did say that, I'm super disappointed in you. What, you don't trust me? Which is a fair point, So-rin. You tell Dae-chung.
Right. Girl power.
Yeah. Like, have that conversation because Dae-chung, you're, again, making unilateral decisions for both of us.
What are you, the UN Security Council? Ooh, political joke.
Yeah, meanwhile,
we'll just move on, but that never happened.
Meanwhile, Navi is like in the background. You haven't seen her during this whole thing, basically, but Navi's in the background, and she has like a rotating.
Wait, she was standing there the whole time with the landlord.
I think she's hiding. Like she probably she just magic. Like maybe she turned back into a cat and is now a human girl again. Maybe she's just hanging out somewhere on the rooftop.
Why are they arguing like in the middle of a crowded rooftop?
It's not. It wasn't crowded. They thought they were alone. Only Dae-chung knew that Navi was still around.
Okay, but the landlord
just appeared because apparently it's a community space. She was watering the plants, like she did it on a regular basis.
I thought she was on it the whole time, just watching them argue while they were just.
Well, it seemed to imply that she definitely came up sometime during the argument, or just randomly. Maybe she's there the whole time. It's very unclear.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to visualize this in my head.
Yeah. So they thought they were alone, or they probably wouldn't have had this argument. And so, meanwhile, Navi's standing there. She has a rotating fan. And she has all these...
Like a oscillating fan?
Yeah, like an oscillating fan. And she has all these papers spread out in front of her, 8x11 or bigger sheets. They're probably bigger than that, sheets of paper. And they all have So-rin's signature on them. Just one signature.
Just completely filled with her signature?
Just her name. No, it's like a big... This will explain. It's like when you go to a fan signing and you get handed a sheet of paper and you sign it and then you hand the sheet off. It's just literally a white sheet of paper that has her signature across it. And... I only say this because what happens is that she blows these papers all over the rooftop with So-rin's signatures on it. And So-rin, as she's kind of like arguing and trying to leave, she sees all the papers float all over the rooftop, of course. And So-rin has a flashback to a scene where she was signing autographs, these giant white pieces of paper. And she's like, I really wish someone would do these for me. They're just like so tiring to do. And you see Dae-chung in the background as a manager overhearing this statement. And so she...
Oh, so he did work for her.
Yeah, that's when you find out, oh, hey, he actually, like, at some point worked for her.
Okay, great. Oh, he actually did some work. Great, got it.
Yeah, like, as far as I know, it's the only scene. Well, I don't think he's gotten his paycheck yet, which maybe begs that he only has been there for less than a month. Maybe they're doing monthly payments. I don't know.
Yeah, sure, okay.
And so, but Dae-chung supposedly overheard this while working as a manager, because you see him in his nice little, like... button-up shirt and everything, so he's clearly...
And he, like, forged her signature a whole bunch so she wouldn't have to do that?
Yeah, or Navi did it, and is, like, it's a ploy. I don't know.
So he overheard this, but did nothing about it.
I don't know,
and
we're like,
the cat cell actually did all the work.
Let's give him the benefit of the doubt that he was doing it for her.
Okay.
And so, but yeah, you do get proof at something like that he actually did management work, which good on Dae-chung, I guess.
Sure. Golf clap for him.
Yeah. So she sees all this. She's like, oh, that's so sweet. Like, he is a good guy. He did all these signatures for me. He remembers me saying that. And that's the actual end of that scene on the rooftop.
Okay.
And so it jumps ahead. How far? Who knows?
Time is an illusion, Danielle.
Especially in the show. And Dae-chung wakes up. He's like laying on his rooftop again on the table.
Does he have an apartment or does he just live on the roof?
Wait for it.
Okay.
I'm so excited. So Dae-chung wakes up from a dream, which is basically a dream of So-rin stating that she's leaving entertainment because of a scandal. So it's a very on-the-nose dream.
As they must all be in fiction.
Exactly. And then Navi pops out of a room behind him and, like, suggesting that it's actually his apartment. So he does have a real live apartment, and this is just his rooftop. Woo!
Also, is nobody concerned he's sharing his apartment with this random woman?
Nobody has seen the random woman, because every time somebody comes around, she either, like, pretends to be somebody else, like a just a random stranger or a hiker or whatever, or she disappears completely, or you never see her turn back into a cat except for that very first time at the beginning. But
it's implied.
It's implied that she has the ability to turn into a cat if she wants to.
Okay, well, that would be cool, but I guess they didn't have the budget for those effects.
Yes. Effects are questionable. So she pops out of the room behind him, though apparently it's an apartment, and she has a whole pot of ramen with her.
Ooh.
I know. And so she's like, let's eat this together. Why are you so useless? Like, let's eat some ramen and get ourselves together. That's what she basically says.
That's a pep talk.
And he questions, he's like, yeah, like, why am I so useless? And she's basically is like, nobody's truly useless. So cheer up, eat some food. Like, let's start over. We can do this. And then it like pans over to him and he's eating the entire container of ramen while she's talking. And he was first all like despondent, like, I'm not going to eat. Like, I'm so useless. Life is hard. And then he's eating the entire thing. And then he asks if he should give up because he feels like they're not compatible. This is a theme. He says it's like 20 times.
But he has no other okay, maybe I'm trying too hard to rationalize a pretty goofy fictional piece of media.
I can almost guarantee you are.
Okay, I'm going to do it anyway, Danielle. That's what I do. But how, if he is so insecure about So-rin, is there literally no other woman in Korea or the world that he could possibly have a relationship with? Like, the internet exists. Do some online dating, buddy.
I don't have any answer for that. It's clearly fated that he loves So-rin, supposedly.
All right.
He feels like he has to go with So-rin, and he's on a timeline, and I don't know. It doesn't suggest
fair
he's
enough.
supposed to find true love here, Sam.
Okay, all right.
His options are limited.
Okay. I guess I just tried to help him, because my first thought would be like, well, this is going to work with her. And if I was a love spell trying to save my life, I'd be like, all right, well, let's find someone who's going to work out with.
I mean, I agree. In a practical, rational sense, I absolutely agree that there's a whole world of women out there that he could potentially date and fall in love with. I mean, like, not working with So-rin. I think he's mixed because he really does like So-rin, but he also feels like he's not at a compatible level with So-rin. And obviously, we've noted that she doesn't seem to care. So
right, of course. Okay, all right. As long as we've eliminated any possibility of another human being that he could have a relationship with.
Yeah. I think it's like a battle between what he feels like he wants versus what he feels like he deserves, perhaps.
Aw, poor guy.
I know. And so he's like, should I give up? We're not compatible. And Navi gets really angry. She's like, I'm on the brink of death because of you.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
I think so. And she basically makes him follow her to the craziest scene out of this whole thing. So this whole thing, I was like, I don't know, this is what, 20 minutes of this show. And I was like, maybe this has gotten really normal. Like, this is kind of a normal story. He's fighting with his potential girlfriend. The landlord's kind of crazy. There's not been a mistake.
It's not going to be good for the podcast.
I know. I was kind of feeling that way. And then the second half of the show turns up. And
this is like me in the last half of Wars of the Sky. We're like,
absolutely.
This is too dull. Oh, wait, here we go.
And so she makes Dae-chung follow her to a meetup for people with dead love cells.
Like a support group?
Like a support group.
Uh-oh.
How do they all know that their love cells have died?
If no one knows what love is, this love cells common knowledge?
I don't know. He didn't know what they were.
All right.
And so she's basically like, welcome to the support group. This is your future.
Ghosts of Christmas yet to come.
Exactly. And again, how does this exist? And so it flashes, it like does this like introduction of all the different members that are sitting in a circle in this building. And these are not relevant to the plot. I just thought they were kind of funny.
Oh, that's great.
There's a guy in sunglasses and the little like words up on the screen flash on. It's like the bad boy, women just fight. He's like, women just fight over me. Like I can't choose because everybody loves me so much. You're like, okay.
Right. Okay. The egoist, I think you mean.
Exactly. And then there's like, it pans to the next one and it says romantic delivery man going through unrequited love. And he talks about, how, it's so hard and I'm gonna be able to give her up. I'm gonna be able to move on. It's okay.
Oh, okay. So pining forever over the one that got away.
Exactly. And then it flashes to, it says a cartoonist, the author of Love Cells, quote unquote, which I'm sure was just an in-joke of who wrote it.
Making fun of the guy who wrote the manga.
I guess. And then the next
not the
one.
Manga, webtoon.
Webcomic, yeah, with webtoon. And the next one is a fighter. It's just a guy that's kind of like a beefy guy in a tank top, and it says fighter, sensitive soul.
What? Sensitive soul means you can't... What?
I don't know. It's just like all these different characters. And so then it flashes back to the delivery driver in the Unrequited Love, and he says... he's like, I'm seeing someone new, and he pulls out this giant teddy bear.
Uh-oh.
And he holds it to him, and he's like, say hello. Like he's talking to the teddy bear, say hello, and he makes it move its little hand.
Oh no, that's so sad. Okay, first off, this is crazy. But second off, wasn't it that when their love cells die, they lose the ability to feel? So why are they all so upset? They're not like, if you can't feel love, you can't feel the sadness of lost love, right? Or... I
think they just can't fall in love again, but they still can feel other emotions. So they can still be depressed and lonely and sad and obviously a little mentally unwell.
Okay, clearly. Yeah, all right. Okay.
Because that was the idea is if you don't fall in love in the next month and all your love cells die, then you're just your life is ruined and you'll never be happy you'll never be able to find a person.
This is really...
It's really dark.
Pushy. No, this show is really pushy. It's like the only good in the universe is sort of the Aristotelian idea of the good. There's one good, and the highest good is love. And if you don't get that love, your whole life is pointless. There's no other way you can find meaning. You can't find meaning through work. You can't find meaning through hobbies. You can't find meaning through friendships or community service.
Absolutely.
The only way you can find meaning in life is by having a romantic relationship.
Yes, but they do suggest also that with the death of your love cells goes the death of self-love as well. And so I think...
We talked about this, Danielle. There's nothing that can kill self-love.
Well, apparently the love cells dying does do that. So going with the premise, they're just miserable because they can't even love themselves. So that would also affect everything else in your life.
Okay, great.
Just put it out there.
I don't think that mitigates the fact that the only way to achieve happiness is a romantic relationship.
Yes, that's basically the premise of the show, though, so you've got to go with it.
Okay, all right, I'm sorry. I should. Again, it's fiction. I get it. I promise.
And so that's the end of that scene. And
so that was just there for funsies.
Yeah, I think it's just to show him that his future is bleak. I guess they kind of have a little. It kind of comes up again, but barely.
Great, I love it.
Yeah, so it flashes to Soren. She's dancing, and this is where I figured out, it was probably slow. I'm sure that they mentioned this earlier, that she was a singer idol, not just an actress. She was,
okay.
She's new to acting.
Does it make a big difference?
Kind of, because it comes up a little bit later, but no, it's not a major issue. But I just wanted to clarify her character.
Fair enough.
So she is dancing in front of the mirror, and doing all her moves, and they have a flashback to the first time she eats chicken feet with Jiwoon, which we had discussed in the previous episode is her big thing. She loves going for soju, which is an alcoholic beverage, and chicken feet, and just hanging and not going to fancy restaurants. And she enjoys that because Jiwoon and her used to do that when they were up and coming, and it just reminds her of the good old days.
Right.
And so she has a flashback to the first time of trying chicken feet, the very first time she ever tried them, and how much she liked them. She's trying basically to dance out the memory. She's
wait. You mean reenact the memory through dance, or trying to dance it out of her head so she forgets it?
Dancing out of her head. She's doing the hardcore flash dance moves, trying to get her head in a better space.
Okay. I wish that worked.
Hardcore workout routine, trying to get her mind somewhere else. And so she does this, and it's actually a very cute scene. So she's dancing, and then you see her just kind of rolling back and forth across the floor because she's just so annoyed with herself. And then dancing again, and then rolling, and then dancing, and then rolling. It's really funny.
I like her.
I know.
Why is the whole show just following her around?
I don't know.
She sounds fun.
Yeah, she's my favorite. She's very silly. And so it goes, kind of flashes back then to the meeting, to the end of the meeting that Dae-chung was in, the Love Cell Death Support Group. And he's looking at his phone, and I think like a news blip comes up, and it's talking about So-rin's past illegal scandal. Like the news has broken that there's a scandal with So-rin attached to it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and so he sees information about potential plagiarizing of some songs from the past. And So-rin has admitted that they're her songs, and so now it kind of sounds like So-rin maybe was plagiarizing her songs that have come out.
Aww.
Yeah, this is on a past album. And he's all like, oh no, Ji-woon totally leaked the information. What a jerk. And he runs and finds Ji-woon. I don't know how he finds Ji-woon. Ji-woon is a high celebrity actor. I don't know why he can just burst into the room where Ji-woon is.
Just a random room where he is, not in his house, not like a place like a club he hangs out, just a random room with Ji-woon.
Basically, and the manager's in there. I assume, my only way I could validate this was that, so Dae-chung is a manager of So-rin, and maybe So-rin and Ji-woon work for the same company, and so he has access to the place where Ji-woon would be. That's my best guess. You put a
lot of thought in it. More thought than the writers did, probably.
Yeah, that was my one thought about how he found Ji-woon and breaks into his room, and it's because if anybody can do that, then just some freaking fan off the street can be like, right, hey, Ji-woon.
I'm not even famous, and people couldn't just burst into my room.
Exactly. So I was very concerned for Ji-woon.
Yeah.
So Dae-chung is like, I can't believe you revealed this information. Why would you do that? And Ji-woon is like, no, I swear I didn't do it. This is just really bizarre timing.
Oh, what a coincidence.
Yeah, he's basically he's like, I wouldn't hurt So-rin. He doesn't say it, but it's suggested that I was just threatening that because I was angry. I would never actually do that. And he's like, and I would never do it because of you, which I thought was kind of mean. So it's kind of a bluff, maybe, I assume. And so they somehow, there's a big jump in logic. They somehow figure out that this information, I don't know how it got leaked, but probably what happened is that the original songwriter was somehow involved in the actual plagiarization. They don't think that So-rin actually did anything. They think something's going on, something mysterious.
The songwriter did the plagiarizing, and So-rin was just a performer.
Right, and just pawned it off on So-rin. And so they team up. Woo!
Oh, super team. This is like when the bad guy and the good guy team up in any superhero movie or whatever. Exactly.
And they go to interrogate the songwriter, producer person.
So good cop, bad cop.
Yay, teamwork. And the producer-songwriter says he knew it was a sample, but he was told basically to put it together and to make it look like So-rin did it. So he was like, if it ever came to light, everything would fall back on So-rin so that I wouldn't get blamed for it. So somebody higher up, somebody told him to do that. He doesn't know who.
Oh, the plot thickens.
Suddenly a mystery plot in the last 25 minutes of this show. He doesn't know who told him. And then the guy, the producer-songwriter, tries to sneak attack them, jump the two guys, and they're in a little production booth,
Okay.
So he tries to sneak attack them, and they basically hit him and pull him down to the ground. Ji-woon kind of punches him or smacks him or something, just gets him down on the ground. And then Ji-woon is like, I recorded this whole conversation and I'm going to make your part known. So you better go out there and tell everybody that you're the one who actually plagiarized.
Why do they do this?
I don't know.
I mean, every time you record somebody do something illegal, why do they always give them a heads up? Hey, I have you dead to rights. I have the evidence here and I'm going to give you a chance to get out ahead of this thing and spin your own story.
I don't know. Maybe it looks better coming from the person. I don't know.
It's so dumb. It gives them a chance to lie or spin it or whatever it takes to get out of it. And so when you release it, it's oh, too late.
Yes, I agree. So basically the music writer is like, that's fine that you recorded it because what I'm going to do is report that you hit me and I'm going to sue you for hitting me.
I hope they're recording that too.
I know, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I hope you didn't turn off your recorder, dude. But apparently that's a threat. He's like, I'm going to create another scandal because you're a famous person and you hit me and I can sue you for hitting me because hitting people's a big deal, I guess.
Usually.
I know,
assault.
But particularly in this scenario. And Ji-woon basically says, I don't care if there's a scandal about me hitting you, you deserved it. And So-rin's worth it. Like, I don't care.
Fair enough.
And so it is released. Like, I don't think that he is in, I don't know exactly how, it kind of all comes to light, but the songwriter definitely sues Ji-woon and is for hitting him. And then Ji-woon is like, that's fine. When he finds out that the songwriter sues him, he tells his manager, he's like, that's okay. I'll use this experience as like an acting experience in the future. Like, I can draw on it. It's a good experience. Now I've been at the top. Now I'm at the bottom. Like, I'll use it going forward.
That's an amazingly positive outlook.
I know, maybe like Ji-woon. Now that he's like stood up for So-rin and decided that he's going to.
These characters are all over the place. You hate them, you like them. It's I've liked and hated pretty much every character so far.
I agree. And kind of off to the side, Jae-chung is like, how could Ji-woon be this cool? Like, I did not see this coming.
Is the real hero of the story Ji-woon? Because that's awesome.
Yeah. So then what you see is kind of Jae-chung sort of coming to terms with himself a little bit. He talks to his neighbor. You don't see him talking to his neighbor, but you kind of like see him chatting, but there's music. And he learns some martial arts and kind of like, I don't know, just feels better about himself.
Turns his life around. Got it.
Yeah, and then there's like a whole side thing going on. It's like clear that time is passing. Ji-woon's drama, his being sued, his scandal, is basically spun to the idea that he was good friends with the producer-songwriter, but they've reconciled, and it was just a kind of a misunderstanding, or I don't know. So-rin is somehow like taken, like she's fine now.
Okay, cool.
The scandal was very quick.
Best kind of scandal.
Yeah, and so then you see that a couple other love cells die. D11 dies. D10 dies.
Wait. D11 then D10?
Yeah, like I don't think they're in order of. They're not like.
What's the? All right.
They're little love cells. Some of them hang in longer than others. Sam.
All right, sure, got it. Right, makes total sense.
And Navi's like freaking out. She like takes them to the park. She's like, I only have 10 days. So now we know that 20 days have passed because she said there was a month, right? So somehow all of this has happened in 20 days. Basically,
that's a lot.
2 weeks.
I mean, a lawsuit's it's super fast.
I know. She's like, I only have 10 days. And by the way, they're filming So-rin and Ji-woon in her acting debut or whatever. And we should go over there because it's at the park, and we should go over there and you should
crash the filming because that's
he's
gonna
still
work.
The manager as far as I know.
What? He's not fired? He said, I'm done with you. It hasn't seen her since.
I don't
he's
know.
Not fired?
He's allowed on the set though. So like clearly he still has some sway.
This is nonsense, Danielle.
I know. It's crazy. They're short. They're little short episodes. It's only 2 hours total. He's gotta run with it.
All right, the plot has to move. Right.
So Ji-woon is, for what, they never tell you what the plot of the story is. So-rin is in like basically like a white wedding dress, a big prom dress. And Ji-woon is in like a little onesie tiger outfit. Like it has one with the hood and the little ears.
That sounds adorable.
It's so cute, Sam. It's so cute. He's got little tiger marks on his face.
Oh, like he face painted.
Yeah, and he keeps pretending to growl like he's practicing his lines.
That's the most adorable thing. It's like a 6-year-old running around in a tiger costume.
So cute. I don't know what the plot of that drama was supposed to be, but I would watch that.
And then you would tell me about it.
Oh gosh. So yeah, he's in a onesie, she's in a prom dress. And I don't know.
It's like a Calvin and Hobbes all grown up story.
She sees Jae-chung kind of arguing with Navi off to the side, and she's just like, whatever. And she sort of walks off to the side. She's really kind of depressed and sad about the whole situation.
She still doesn't like Ji-woon after all this?
No. I mean, she's like on like decent terms sort of with Ji-woon. She's just kind of, but she has to be working with him, so she's kind of just putting up with him right now. Oh, and I don't know if she has had any conversation with Ji-woon in the interim in terms of like attempting to explain, like, I really didn't release this information. I like you.
Oh, does she think that he released the information?
I don't know the answer to that. It doesn't really come up.
She's just mad at him for some reason we don't know.
I think she's just mad because he made Jae-chung feel bad. And like kind of supposedly maybe threatened her, and I think she's unsure what's going on and how she feels. That's my guess.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, so she kind of walks off, and then she ends up overhearing some management staff complaining that she's basically messed up Ji-woon's life, and like they're better people, and they don't understand why Ji-woon would even go for her. And she obviously gets kind of upset about that.
Yeah.
She leaves the set. She walks off and nobody can find her. So it's like her time to film, but nobody can find her. And so Navi pulls out from her magic bag our first ad of the whole episode.
Oh, finally. I've been waiting for it.
She pulls out fox ears that you can put on your head, like a little headband that have giant ears on them. And she puts them on Daechung, and basically the ad makes no sense. Maybe the translation, maybe it's just me. But basically, the God Iceman character, MC God Iceman, he puts on the fox ears and then says a bunch of stuff that seems to imply that if you put on the ears, you'll know everything the girl is thinking. So I'm guessing they're telepathy ears.
So they let you read girls' minds, like an awful way to invade someone's privacy.
Yeah, and he says girls, but I'm assuming no matter whoever you're trying to hear, find, whatever, I assume they're magic directed. So you could probably use them on anybody.
You're making a lot of assumptions about these magic ears, Danielle.
Well, she uses them in the pursuit of love. So if he was interested in some guy, I'm sure he would be able to hear that guy's thoughts too. Or if, I don't know, because I only say this because he uses one of the tools later in the story for something not related to Sorin. So I think they're directional. He can use them on whoever he wants that one time.
All right.
That's my guess.
Okay.
So I do have something to back me up on that thought.
All right. So he has some magic telepathy fox ears.
And he puts them on, and the guy at the end of the MC God Iceman says, "Fox ears, try them out. Fox ears, yeah."
You just wanted to say that, didn't you?
I did. I love his lines. And
he's the best.
He has no explanation. There's no explanation for this guy. It's
he's just there to provide the information about the devices so that
he is.
Navi doesn't have to monologue at people.
But I really like the idea that Navi maybe there's some store out there where she can watch these ads and go, oh, I'm going to order that, and I'm going to order that, I'm going to order that.
They're sitting up late at night watching TV with the phone and the credit card in her lap and just oh, fox ears, yeah.
Kind of is suggested later, which I'll get to, and I love that. That's my favorite thing, that they just show these ads that have no bearing on anything whatsoever.
Okay, great.
And so Daechung can hear Sorin thinking, and he finds her in a field, kind of a little ways.
Fox ears, found the lost girl, doesn't use them for anything else than just finding her.
Yep, fox ears, yeah. And
yeah.
He runs to her, hugs her, and tells her how worried he was about her, etc. And then Ji-woon, of course, appears at the same time.
Does he have magic fox ears to find her too?
He does not. He just magically found her.
Okay, great.
And he not magically found her. And they might do a wrist grab. There's a really classic Korean drama trope where two guys grab a woman's wrist, and sometimes it's a reverted reverse
one on
trope.
each wrist, and they pull in different directions.
Pull her in a direction. Yeah,
okay.
It's really classic. A lot of times, just one guy will grab a woman's wrist too. It's just a thing. It was really common, older dramas too, but it still definitely happens. And then sometimes the dramas reverse the trope, and there'll be two women or something. And it's just funnier when it happens that way. Or she gets really angry and then she kicks both of them. That's fun too, because that's how that should end, when two guys grab your wrist and pull you in separate directions.
It doesn't seem like a particularly fun thing to be oh, I'm restraining you.
Right. That would be the case where you kick them or break free and punch them in the face. Sadly, she doesn't do that.
Oh.
And she might not even be wrist grabbed. It just seems like it's a very wrist grabby scenario, since they're both on either side of her.
How do you know you watched it?
I know, but I wasn't paying attention. I think I've seen it so often now that, not this show, but seen that trope so often that I no longer really notice it all the time.
Just a register on you. It's oh, wrist grab, in one eye, out the other, as they might say if that was a thing.
Yes, just like that. In one eye and out the other.
I'm bringing it back, Danielle.
But they're standing on either side of her, and they're both let's go. And they're kind of trying to pull her in different directions. And they have that moment where she's who's she going to choose? And she basically says to Ji-woon, I don't want to film right now. I am having a terrible day. And Daechung tries to back her up, yeah, don't make her, stop being such a jerk. And it's not here, but it's a little bit farther on that Ji-woon basically tells her, you stop being a child because this is work and people are relying on you and waiting for you. Fair point, Ji-woon.
Also, there's a lot of money that makes a shoot happy. You can't just okay, we'll do it tomorrow for another $200,000 setup fee or whatever.
Exactly. You're having a bad day? Oh, well, you're an actor now.
Welcome to having a job.
Yeah, so I kind of sided with Ji-woon in this moment and a little bit farther into the story. And so Rin basically it says, Ji-woon, you're never on my side. Only Dae-chung is. He's always here when I need him.
What? I know. Totally ghosted her, just a few, minutes ago in screen time.
Exactly. And then Ji-woon says, I definitely have been on your side. You just don't always realize it, which I assume is referencing maybe parts of their past, but also the idea that he told that guy he would have his entire career ruined for her.
Yeah.
So I don't think she knows all that, though.
Clearly not, and kind of again on Ji-woon's side here.
I know. And then Navi interrupts. She pretends like she's a hiker going through the park. And so maybe she realizes that So-rin might actually go with Ji-woon. And so she interrupts the hiker and she asks for Ji-woon's autograph and she's fangirling.
Aww.
I know. And then she thanks him with some water and this little shot of the color pink floats through the water. So you get the idea that the water is somehow magical or poisoned or something.
She tainted the water she gave to him?
Yeah, she's basically take this water, thank you so much, it's all I have on me.
Don't drink it. Never drink water, random strain. Oh, that's bad.
It was sealed. It's it's a water bottle, a plastic water bottle. I know, I'm saying it's questionable, but I think also a lot of people give gifts to famous people, particularly in Korea or Asian countries. So I think it's more common. And so So-rin agrees with Ji-woon's argument about work. She's like, okay, yeah, I should probably go back and actually do my job.
Yeah, you think?
And he hands off the water to So-rin to drink. He's like, here, drink some water, let's freshen up. We'll be fine. And so she drinks the water and Navi's all like, uh-oh. You're like, oh, what's the water going to do? So they go back together. They've sort of made up, they're kind of palling around and joking with each other again, and Dae-chung's looking all depressed about it, and Navi's like, oh no, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
And then So-rin's stomach suddenly gets super upset.
Tainted water. Got it.
Tainted water. So she runs to find a bathroom, but of course every bathroom near the set is for mysterious reasons closed.
Of course.
I think Dae-chung realizes the water was laced, and so he shows up on a moped and he drives her to the nearest bathrooms, which they suggest are 2 kilometers away. So quite a ways away.
She had to hold it for 2 kilometers on a moped?
On a moped. I know, but she makes it. Woo woo.
I'm impressed by her. She's incredible.
And then there's this scene. All you see is this piece of land, and it's exploding, and I assume it's referencing to her tummy troubles.
Oh no, gross.
I know, it's funny. And then she finally comes out of the bathroom. She's feeling much better, and Dae-chung's standing outside the bathroom waiting for her, and she's like, I wonder, why did you come out today of all days? You can't leave again. And he can't explain, obviously, that he has a magic love cell cat on his side, and that's why he always shows up where he's supposed to.
Why not? Apparently love cells are common enough to have a support group.
Exactly. And then Ji-woon, for some reason, has, I guess, decided to walk the 2 kilometers and sees them being all chummy and friendly.
Wait, so she was in the bathroom long enough for a guy to catch up to them walking 2 kilometers?
Apparently.
Wow.
Yeah, and so then it flashes to the nighttime of, I assume, that evening. And Navi is pretty peppy. She's like, So-rin's definitely into you, Dae-chung. That's legit. You guys are on track. I'm not gonna die. This is really exciting. And basically, Dae-chung has an attack of consciousness / attack of plot. And says,
attack of plot. I like that.
And says that Ji-woon is also super into her, and he seems genuine and honestly a good guy. And maybe he's not the best choice for So-rin, which again is giving So-rin no agency.
Right, why don't you let her decide?
Exactly. And then Navi gets all concerned again, and he asks him if he's in a position to be worried about other people's feelings. And he's also sincere, so what does it matter? If you're also sincere about the girl, don't you deserve potentially to be able to date her?
Or let her make her own choice?
Right. Well, that's kind of implied when Navi's talking, at least.
Okay, well, good for her.
She's still trying to build him up. Her job is very hard, because she has to basically give somebody like him, some self-esteem and ego.
She's like a therapist for him.
Yeah.
A therapist who's going to die if he doesn't cure her depression.
That's a hard job.
It is.
And so she basically don't give up. You can do this. And he says again that they're not suitable, they're not compatible, and he never would have gotten so far without Navi's help, which is true, to be fair.
100%. 100%.
So the closer he is to her, he says, the more he feels it's wrong to be with her. And it's just not feeling...
Wait. I want to make a prediction here.
Yes.
Because...
This is a great time to have a prediction. I also had predictions at this point.
I think I'm going to be wrong. but I see 3 possibilities, one of which I really like, and the other 2 are kind of like, okay.
Uh-huh.
1, Daejung ends up with Sorin, and Ji-woon ends up with Navi, which would be insane, but I love it.
I want that to happen.
2, Daejung ends up with Ji-woon, and they just have their own little thing and leave Sorin out of it, which would be
I take it back. I want that to happen.
Yeah, that'd be my favorite one. That's my favorite one. It's like, he's so cool. He did all this great stuff for her. He really cares. He's really genuine. Wait a minute. Maybe I love him.
Yes, I would really like that. I also would like Sorin to get a good person, be it Navi or somebody else that we have yet to meet.
Maybe like Navi's like, well, screw it. Sorin, you and me, let's get out of here. Have like a Thelma Louise style like friendship.
Also, I really feel like Sorin and Navi would be a power couple. Like, they're amazing.
Yeah, they're both the 2 most capable characters in the series. So They would own. But what I think is most likely at this point is Ji-woon ends up with Sorin, but Dae-chung ends up with Navi.
Okay. I will keep that in mind.
Probably not going to be the right answer because I'm notoriously bad at predicting even basic rom-coms. So
I'm going to tell you that one of your guesses is sort of correct.
Oh, great.
But not where you're going. Not where you think it's going.
Okay. I gave this show too little credit.
Because the end of this is bananas.
Okay. All right.
It gets
as long as we're clear that it's not
weirder.
because I'm an idiot, just because it's bananas.
Yeah, the end of this is amazing. I was literally yelling at my TV screen. I was like, yes, what is this?
All right.
So good.
I'm sorry to interrupt with that, but I just had to get my prognostication out of here.
Absolutely. I think that's totally fair. And you're sort of correct on one of those, maybe.
But also, I just really wanted to put out there the idea that maybe Ji-woon and Dae-jung should end up together because they kind of deserve each other.
I'm there for that, and with the Sorin Navi backup couple.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they're good.
Yeah. All right. Keep going.
Okay. So Dae-chung says about Sorin basically that the closer he gets to her, the more he kind of feels like it's not quite right, and that he feels like more and more that maybe they're not compatible or at least shouldn't be dating. And Navi gets mad and he's like, you're thinking only of yourself still. And she leaves. Like, she just like bounces off the roof and leaves. And so Dae-chung is like, oh crap. So he has her purse is like sitting next to him. He grabs the purse. He runs off after her and he can't find her anywhere. There's a, all by myself medley or something while he goes out and tries to find her. He can't. And there's a whole long montage with flashbacks again to something that like happened 10 minutes ago.
Well, we have to know, Danielle.
I know. It's all their scenes together with Dae-chung and Navi. And so it's like all their scenes together and he's trying to find her. And you question this, as you said, you question at this point, like, is it a friendship flashback or is it a love flashback? Who knows at this point?
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, and it's like a very, like, the song that's playing is a very, like, 90s-esque late night jam. Like, that's the type of music that's playing while he's looking all over.
Perfect.
And so he goes to the purse. I don't know why. I assume maybe he's looking for her magical tools.
Or like her magical business card so he can call her.
Yes, something. So he goes through her purse and he finds these glasses and he puts them on. And there's another ad.
Yes!
Yay! So MC God Iceman says...
Every time.
I wrote all this down because I actually really liked this ad.
All right, let me set the stage. MC God Iceman now introducing the new product from Lovestyle Enterprises.
So, navigation is so last century. Now it's about these see-all glasses, the item that lets you find the one you want instantly.
So the creeper glasses. Got it.
The see-all glasses. Try them for your use.
Oh, no.
And also it begs the question, why did he not use those earlier instead of the fox ears?
Wait, the fox ears, like, give you telepathy, and he never used them to read any thoughts. Like, why? Why fox ears?
Why didn't he use the glasses?
Yeah.
He's like literally having to, like, literally his task earlier was to find Sorin, who was missing, and he didn't use the find me glasses.
But also, why do we have telepathic fox ears when you don't read any minds? It's like,
I don't know.
It's Chekhov's telepathic fox ears. Yeah.
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 That should have been the ad. Chekhov's telepathic fox ears. Yeah. So he finds her. He finds her with the magic glasses.
Yeah, finds who? Navi?
Yeah, Dae-chung finds
okay.
Navi. That's who we're searching for, Zam.
I
That's
got
who he was
confused
searching
between
for.
Soren and Navi, all right?
So Navi's like, why do so many people in this world love somebody, but you can't ever seem to love anybody?
Good question.
And he comforts her, and they have a moment together.
Aww.
And I know, it's very sweet. And then Navi interrupts to say, there's only 1 week left, so if he'll just freaking confess his feelings to Soren, they're all good.
Okay. Back to that old chestnut.
Yeah. And he basically is like, yeah, I'll tell her. Like, I don't want you to die, and I like Soren, and I'll tell her. And so she basically does a training montage where she teaches him on a whiteboard how to confess his love.
They have a week.
Yeah, she gives him a little makeover.
Okay.
You know he's useless. Like, he needs lessons.
All right.
There's a bunch of montage moments with Soren, and then there's an interview that's being done with Ji-woon and Soren, and they're on the set of their movie that they're making together, drama, whatever it is, and they're both being interviewed by this interviewer who asks them a bunch of, like, romance questions, basically like, you know, you're an idol, and people are super into you, you know, how's it working together? Are you into each other? You've always just said you're friends, you've known each other a long time.
Typical tabloid stuff,
yeah. Totally. And Ji-woon finally basically admits on camera onto the interviewer, like, nope, I totally love Soren.
Whoa.
And Soren is all like, I'm not sure what to do in this situation because I'm being interviewed on TV, and I like, what are you doing right
That's
now?
like a public proposal or something. That's not cool, bro.
Public proposal, exactly what that is. It doesn't resolve exactly what she does in that moment, but Navi and Dae-chung overhear this, and Navi looks like super upset, like, oh no, all our hard work is lost, and Dae-chung's like, oh dear, like, that's not good.
Oh dear, oh bother.
Exactly. And then it flashes to the end of the interview, and Ji-woon is having an interaction with his manager, his omnipresent manager, and his manager is like, I highly disagree with what you just did. She's not worth it.
Ooh.
I know. And Ji-woon is like, I'm not hiding my love for her anymore. I love her, and I'm going to tell the world. I don't care what you say. And they get into a huge argument, and he fires the manager.
Is he going to hire Dae-chung?
That's a possibility, because does Dae-chung have a job right now? Who knows?
Who knows?
Though later on, he gets paid, so I'm assuming he's still working.
Okay.
I don't know. But
Spoilers.
He basically says, yeah, I know, totally spoils it, that he gets money for a job he's not doing.
Sign me up.
Dream job. So they're walking the beach and talking. Jesus, Ji-woon and Soren. She's in the wedding dress. He's in the tiger onesie. And this is where I actually wondered. I was like, is this a parallel to Navi and Dae-chung? Because, like, Navi is a cat
person.
And Dae-chung is like,
that's
like
genius.
the parallel to. I know. I was like, that's interesting. And she basically asks for more time to decide. She's like, I'm not sure if I want to be with you. Can I have more time to decide? And he's like, of course. And Dae-chung then kind of shows up. Ji-woon leaves. Dae-chung shows up and asks her to dinner. He's like, I just got paid. I want to take you to a nice dinner. And then
not
Ji-woon
pay your
shows...
rent.
Yeah, I'm not paying my rent. No, she brings that up. Bless Soren. Ji-woon tries to, like, cut into the conversation. I don't know why he suddenly came back. I think he just sees them talking and is like, none of that nonsense. Like, I don't think so. I just declare my love on national TV. So he straight up asks Dae-chung, he's like, do you like her? And what can you possibly bring to the table?
Two good questions.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of a jerk move to be like, you're not good enough for her. Cause
I mean, that part is awful, but like,
yeah,
telling him like, come on, put your cards on the table already. I just confessed.
I agree with that part. Yeah. And then Navi interrupts them again. She just comes up and, like, pretends to be an assistant or something. It's a very short scene.
Got it.
No, because she's had, like, a hat on. She's had sunglasses on.
She's doing the old Harriet the Spy disguises.
Exactly. And so she interrupts again. And just as she interrupts, the scene kind of flashes to somebody in a car. You don't see who it is. And the car suddenly, like, shoots forward and tries to hit all of them.
What?
Well, yeah, I was also a little confused about this, but it does become apparent later. But what happens is, so the car tries to hit them, and then Dae-chung saves Navi. Like, he grabs her out of the way, and Ji-woon ends up saving Soren.
Mm-hmm.
And so the cutaway scene, like, as it pulls back, you see which person each person chose to save. And it's like,
that's who they really love.
I know, he didn't save Soren. Dae-chung didn't save Soren. So this is now jumping ahead. There's nothing more about this car.
Just a
jumps
random
ahead.
car that attacks them for no reason, like
You'll see
Christine?
it comes up later. It comes up later, I swear.
Okay.
But I don't want to give it away yet. But they don't say anything more about the car. It just jumps ahead in time. It's the last day of the love cell. So this is her death day,
It's like
essentially.
3 days later or whatever.
Yeah, she has like 8 hours left of time.
She knows it to a very precise degree.
Yeah, I don't know why. I guess maybe all love cells do. I know she's in the math. I don't know. But she knows she has 8 hours left. And she's super solemn. She's saying that they failed. Like, obviously, she's approaching death. And suddenly there's an announcement, like a radio announcement. And I was like, do they have a radio on? Because there was no music. There's nothing, nobody talking. And then I realized the announcement's actually coming from their laptop, which was even stupider.
Yeah. Like your laptop doesn't just randomly play like announcements.
I know. So there's suddenly this laptop announcement, and it's about Soren, and she was kidnapped that morning.
What?
I know. I'm telling you, I'm not joking. It gets so crazy so fast. You're gonna
How
love
much of this show is left?
Like 10 minutes. Like it's like one episode. It's so fast.
Okay.
Like so much happens in the last 10 minutes of this show. So they think that it's Ji-woon's manager, the one who got fired earlier for being...
Oh, he's all bitter about
Not
getting
nice.
fired over her, so he wants revenge.
Yeah, so they think that he's kidnapped Soren. And Navi's like, this is your last chance. Go save her. Whoever saves her, clearly she's going to fall in love with, because that's how it works.
Oh, geez, that's so not right. It's like
I
she
know.
doesn't have any agency still.
Which is funny because she's the most independent character in terms of personality. And so she goes to look for the glasses, the magic glasses to use, because she doesn't realize that Dae-chung used them to find her
And they can
earlier.
be used once.
Right. And so Dae-chung is like, sorry, I used them to find you. Like, they're not in there. Okay. And Navi's like, okay, well, last option then, but it's much more dangerous. And she rings her magic bell.
Uh-huh.
And the delivery driver, remember from Unrequited Love in the Love Cell death meeting?
Yes. The delivery driver with the teddy bear.
Yeah, he just randomly climbs up on top of the roof. Don't ask me how I got up there. Madness.
Okay.
And he has a box, and he hands it to them. And it's a pink box, and not that it matters what color the box is.
Sure. I mean, good details. Really paint that picture, Danielle.
None of them have any reaction to this. Like, it's totally normal that somebody just climbed on the roof and handed them a box. Not even Dae-chung. They have no reaction. And she says, basically, that she bought a new item. So there really is, like, a store where she buys these things with MC God
I
Iceman.
want that store.
Yeah, the dilemma, because he's like, well, why didn't you just buy a bunch more stuff?
No
He's
kidding.
like, she goes, well, the problem is that halves my remaining lifespan every time I buy more. Because
What?
magic. I don't know. It's never explained. That's what it is. So she now has 4 hours. And so she's like, better get it done. You have 4 hours to find her.
Okay.
He puts on the glasses and he's trying to find her. He gets in the car. He's driving. He's trying to get to where she is. And he can't for some reason. I don't quite remember why, but she ends up... Navi ends up using her lifespan again to get him fox ears so that he can find her.
Oh, the
more
foxes are back.
specifically.
I gave them
So,
too little
yeah.
credit.
Yep, I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to spoil it.
Oh, you
I
made me
didn't
a
want to
fool.
spoil that he ends up using them to save her from getting surprise kidnapped.
Danielle, is there any kind of kidnapping? Isn't it a surprise?
Maybe. So it was planned, pre-planned kidnapping.
All right. Okay. Surprise, you're kidnapped.
So he can hear Soren calling for help. Sorry, that was like a delayed reaction from me. Surprise, you're kidnapped. He can hear her calling for help with his fox ears. And then
But I thought he heard their thoughts.
he can hear her. Well, apparently he can maybe mentally. She's also calling for help, not just literally.
Okay.
And then, so he's in the car driving. He's got his glasses on, his fox ears. Navi is on the rooftop because that's what she's doing. I don't know why she didn't go with him. And then suddenly someone comes up behind her on the rooftop and it like goes black. So she was...
Is that Ji-woon?
Something?
Tell me it's Ji-woon.
I'm not going to tell you. Then it flashes over to the kidnapped Soren, and the manager is monologuing. So it is the manager.
Oh.
He's monologuing that he's behind the whole thing. Like there was some kind of major mystery that we were confused about, and there was not. But I never once thought.
It's like the Scooby-Doo reveal. Like, I was the one who was behind driving the car at you once and then kidnapping you just now. Those two things.
I know. But this is actually like there's stuff that apparently happened in the plot that I didn't realize was part of an overarching mystery, which is funny. So he says he's behind the squid The one from earlier.
Oh.
Where she opened the box and found a dried
fainted.
squid. So he was the one that sent the box with the dried squid to make her pass out. He was
Did
hoping
he
she would...
leak the information to the tabloids?
Yeah, he's behind the plagiarism. He's behind apparently her manager being fired. Like he's basically been like doing all these bizarre weird things. The squid thing is serious. Like she's apparently had a very serious allergy to it because she opened the box and fell over.
And then was in the hospital.
He was basically trying to kill her.
Yeah. I mean, he kidnapped her. I don't think he's not extreme.
Right. And he says that he's doing all this because she's like, what the heck? Like, why? And he says he's doing all this because she ruined Ji-woon's career and he was way too into her and he was going to like destroy his entire life just for her. And then the best part, Sam, the best part of this whole show is he has a dried squid on a stick, the manager. It's on this giant metal stick.
It's his weapon of choice.
And he's holding it out, and he's putting it in her face. And she's, like, screaming her head off, like, don't touch me with that! He's just waving a dried squid in her face.
That's amazing.
I don't know why.
Does it look like a little squid on the end of a stick? With all the tentacles and everything?
Looks like the dried squids. They're like, they have the body of the squid. They're flat. They're like super flat. Oh. And they have like the body of the squid and then all the weird little tentacle things. And he's just like waving it on his stick in front of her. Like he stuck it with his stick. Oh gosh, it was so good. It was that's where I was yelling at the TV. I was like, yeah! Like,
squid that girl! Squid are good!
So Dae-chung's on his way to find her. It flashes back to him and he gets a phone call. And do you remember... Many moons ago, when we talked about the opening scene of this TV show was a young gentleman with a gun who was holding it to Dae-chung's head and threatening him.
And it was a dream?
And it was a dream sequence?
Yes.
Okay. That's the guy on the phone.
What? It wasn't a dream?
Don't know. He's kidnapped Navi.
Okay.
And Navi's shouting in the background, don't listen to him! Go find Soren!
I mean, she's dead either way, so...
Yeah, he's like, this is the time for farewells, and he hangs up the phone. And
Who hangs up the phone?
And the guy hangs up the phone.
Like, not Dae-chung isn't like, too bad.
Yes. That's not what happens.
Okay.
He just, like, hangs up the phone. Like, bad guy. Supposedly bad guy. And this is where you kind of realize, because you see the guy talking to him, and he's, like, holding a gun at Navi, and Navi's, like, curled up in a corner, and you realize, is this guy, like, the executioner for love cells? Is that how they die?
I mean, my guess was way off if that's true, because my guess was he was one of the people from the support group, like, desperately trying to get a love cell again.
No. That's not it, but solid guess. My brain went nowhere near that.
Yours went to love cell executioner.
Yeah, like mine went to, is he an like, are all love cells execution style murdered? And if so,
that's awful.
Oh God, why?
I mean, I think both of our guesses are equally valid.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of flashbacks to moments between Navi and Dae-chung. Again, like we didn't just have them 5 minutes ago.
We don't have time for this. People are kidnapped and being threatened with guns.
We all know flashbacks happen simultaneously to other things, except in some comedies where they just stand there. So you see Jae-woon searching for So-rin as well at the same time. So Ji-woon's like out there doing he's like, I'm going to find her too.
But he doesn't have magic glasses and fox ears.
Right. But then Ji-woon breaks into a building, and it turns out it is the building that So-rin is in. So he does find her. And he punches out the manager.
Like opening random...
No,
So-rin, you in here? All right. Next one. So-rin, you in here?
You find out that Dae-chung called him and was like, go get So-rin. She's there. Like, this is where she is.
Oh, and then he went to go save Navi.
So he went to find Navi. Not that he know. I assume he's using the glasses. He's still using them, so maybe it's all considered one use.
That's iffy. It voids the warranty.
I know, it's very questionable. So he Ji-woon punches out his manager, tells So-rin that Dae-chung is the one that told him where she was. Dae-chung goes to get Navi. But once he reaches it, there's no clarification as to how he got there. We're assuming it's the glasses. But once he gets there, he, like, goes to try and fight the guy with the gun. And there's, like, a force field that the guy keeps pushing out. Like, you're never going to get to her. She's totally going to die.
Well, it's a what?
It's like a pink. I think it's pink, so maybe it's a reference to earlier pink bubbles. It like pushes out and just stops him. Like every time he goes to run, he gets hit by this like
Is
bubble
it coming
force field
from
and
the
falls
dude
over.
with the gun?
It comes from the guy with the gun. Yes.
So the guy at the gun is magic.
He's magic.
Okay. That was not clear.
No, it wasn't clear till then either, because you don't know anything about this guy. That's literally all I know, Sam, is that he had a gun,
And he's
threatening her,
magic.
and now he's magic. So with magic force fields, at least.
Got it.
And he's like, I believe I've given you enough chances. And I'm like, enough chances for what? Because you don't know who he is. And so if you wanted her to live, why did you do this to yourself? Because Dae-chung keeps going like, don't let her die. Like, please don't kill her. Which is fair. He's actually come around to her living.
That's good.
Yeah, Dae-chung is like, I know I've lived like an idiot, but it was hard enough to live by myself, like, let alone fall in love and like care about other people. I couldn't even care about myself. And the guy says he's like, oh, that's the Dae-chung I knew, like, kind of self-centered and like never gonna fall in love. And he basically like kind of he's trying to fight back. He can't because of the force field, and he's like, give me one more chance. And the guy is why are you so desperate suddenly? And then he goes to shoot Nabi, and he does. He shoots Nabi, and Nabi and in the cutest scene, which is terrible because the death just occurred.
Oh,
it's so cute.
Danielle.
Nabi turns back into a cat. When she gets shot, it's this little black and white cat, and they taught the cat to roll over and play dead. So he gets shot, and the cat rolls over on its belly, and its legs, like, kind of flopped side to side.
It's
a real cat. So cute. So the moment was really lost on me, because I was like, oh, Navi, oh, kitty cat, you're so cute.
Oh, it's great.
Oh, it was so funny. So Navi's gone. Now it's just a normal cat again.
I'm glad we established that.
And then it kind of flashes forward. So-rin and Ji-woon are officially dating. Dae-chung lost his chance. And then 6 months have passed. It's a new future. And he comes out of his apartment. A new future. That's the future.
Got it.
So he comes out of his apartment, which is the only time you've ever seen him go into his apartment at all. Like, apparently he went into his apartment, came back out.
Got it. He does know how doors work.
Yeah, he came out of his apartment. He was not living. It's winter, which might explain it. It's now like the holiday season. I think there's like a Christmas tree on the rooftop. The cat's sitting out there. It's just hanging out on the porch. He goes and sits down on the table, and he's like, sometimes I feel like that was just a really long dream. He's talking to the cat.
Yeah.
And then you hear the landlady in the background tell somebody, like, she's like, go check on Dae-chung, see if he's still alive. Like, I haven't seen him in forever. And so he turns around because he hears somebody coming up.
Is it the daughter who farts from bread?
He turns around and yes, and it's the daughter of the landlady, and she looks exactly like Navi.
Oh.
I don't know why, but she does.
Same actress, I'm guessing.
Yes. And she has a piece of cake. I don't know why, but she does.
Okay.
And he's like shocked. He's like, oh my god, it's Navi and she has cake. Why? And she's human.
That is a big question.
Yeah, and so he wonders again. He's like, what strange dream am I entering into? And that's like the end of the show. It credits. It goes to the credits.
That's how it ends.
That's how well, sort of. There's an after credits scene.
Okay.
That's very brief, but that's the end of, like, them. Of all of that. That's how it ends. Congratulations. He gets a girlfriend.
Well, I thought his love cells died, so he can't.
Well, so it flashes to the after credits scene, and it's the guy who had the gun. The gun guy.
Gun guy. Goes, right, that guy who we don't know anything about.
Very famous actor. He's sitting in a chair, like a, what's it called? A king sit-in.
A throne?
Throne. Thank you. I think it's a throne. I'd like from my recollection. He's sitting in like a throne, and he basically is talking to the camera. And he's like, dating can be the hardest yet most beautiful thing. And then it flashes across the screen. It says, God of love, both good and evil. He is the hunter of love cells.
So he's like, so you have MC God, the salesman, Iceman, and you have the God of love who is good and evil and hunts love cells for sport?
Then it says, it says he will now begin his story of how he became a love cell hunter. That's what he says to the camera. I will now begin my story of how I became a love cell hunter. That's the end of the show.
What? None of that makes sense. And I hate all of it. I hate it all.
More sense. Maybe season 2 has more to say.
If season 2 is a story of how he became a love cell, I mean, I hate it. I honestly, that's awful. That's the worst. It makes zero sense. There's no payoff.
Good. It's so weird. It's so good. Sam, it's so good. It's perfect.
I'll give it to you that it is the most nonsense I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. Oh, man. I'm so glad he got a girlfriend, and I actually would love to hear the story about how
we don't know if he got a girlfriend. We just saw him see her. She could have rejected him.
Plot. He definitely got a girlfriend.
Why? What in this show made you think he got a girlfriend?
Because that's just how TV shows work. He lives in TV land. He got the girlfriend. So maybe because he showed love at the end, like a last-minute retribution, he was like, don't kill her.
Okay, Danielle.
I believe it would have been stronger if he had, like, said, I love her or whatever.
Yeah. He never actually expressed love for anybody in the show.
No, but I think he felt it. Maybe that mattered.
I thought the whole point was he had to tell So-Rin, like, he had to learn how to have a relationship with requires expressing your feelings.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if expression was, like, the main thing so much as just being in love.
Well,
and being in a relationship with them, which implies that at some point you have to confess that you want to be in a relationship with them.
Right. I mean, you can't be, like, you can love someone like, yo, I love that person. Do they know about it? No.
Right.
That doesn't count.
I don't disagree that this is complete nonsense, and you don't know whether or not he ends up with the bread-eating girl.
Bread-eating girl. Like, her only characteristic is she looks like Navi, and she farts when she eats bread.
And she studied in France.
I mean, bonjour. Great for her.
And also, oh man, if he actually dated her, then the Leia Mord would be his, like, mother-in-law, basically, which, rough.
Oofta.
So that is the end of the story, Sam. That's the end of Love Cells season 1.
That's an ending. I'll give you that.
So good. As soon as the squid came up, I was like, oh no, where is this going?
There's like, why do we always pick the shows or media that have like the first 80% is not a lot going on and then everything insane happens in like the last 10 or 20%?
I don't know. But the ending was so good, and I can't believe I seen it. This is my third time seeing it. I can't believe I didn't remember any of the ending.
It's complete nonsense. It's bonkers. I still don't know what a love cell is. I still don't know why I care if they die, because apparently even if they all die, you can still date and have a love with somebody, so they're pointless.
Maybe if I read the webtoon, it would make more coherent sense. Or maybe one of our listeners knows.
Oh,
maybe you've seen Love Cells or read the webtoon, and you can fill us in on some of our very big questions.
Right. If you actually know any details about what a love cell is, please write in, tell me at bookretorts.com. I need to know more answers.
You can also message us on Twitter at bookretorts, and we would love to hear from you.
Oh, absolutely, because I don't think I've had more questions ever after finishing one of these episodes.
I thought so. When I watched this, I was like, Sam's gonna love this. And by love, I mean hate.
I'm so glad you shared that with me.
So at least she didn't end up with a cat, Sam. He did not end up with a cat.
I was really hoping that he would, like, end up with his own cell, because how do you have a relationship with your own cells? I mean, that means like dating yourself in a way, and it's like self-love, and like, what's going on?
It's self-love.
Self-love, okay. You know what? I'm done.
Good ending. Good ending. I'm done. Play music. Maybe like all love cells look like her. And that's just like the form love cells take. Well, then that's super weird because he possibly
I'm
Daejun
sorry.
is possibly
Is that too
dating.
weird for the show?
Is that too weird for the show?
He's dating a farting bread eater who looks just like his dead love son that was shot to death by the god of love, who is apparently good and evil. So, excuse me, I don't think that's beyond the realm of possibility.
Well, when you put it like that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I refuse to believe anything is too insane for the show.
Oh, goodness.